people that were here finally moved out because of severe drought, and before they left these cliff dwellings, they have left their markings in these cliffs or on the rock. Now these footprints, outer edges of these other markings, as mentioned by Lanza, representing the Great Spirit's footprints. And of course today a lot of people see some of these tracks, they call them Bigfoot. This represents Badger clan footprints here, showing that Badger clan was here also with birds, some kind of birds that also part of the movement in this migration. And we believe that most other areas that you see ruins spread out from here on towards south, east, and west direction are the ruins of these people that left this Mesa Verde area.
Aribe was their destination, and it was near here, at the heart of the continent, that the Great Spirit awaited them. Once the largest Hopi village, Aribe is now but a pale reflection of what it used to be. But for traditional Hopis, its spiritual and historical importance lives on.
The Hopi traditionals believe that the white existence based upon material things such as money, materialism, is a weak type of survival. Because you see, material things do not last forever. Spiritual things are eternal. And the Hopi traditionals they know this. And so therefore, their conflict with the tribal council is not just a matter of politics, it's a matter of survival. And I think if the young Hopis will realize this, I think they would tend to go back to the traditional form of survival. The survival of the Hopi people depended solely upon rain. And as far as I know, you can't really buy rainfall yet. And so the Hopis have developed their religious and spiritual life to the point where they actually would get themselves into such a spiritual condition that the spiritual forces would respond, as a result, rain. And there you have completely two kinds of existence. On the Hopi side, you have the existence which is based upon its relationship to the spiritual world. On the white side, you have an existence which is based upon the material things of the world, money.
The traditional Hopis see the growing intrusion of money and commercialism into the reservation as the greatest single threat to the Hopi way of life. Behind this change is the Tribal Council, located here with its supporters in New Aribe. It was forced into existence in 1936, supposedly with the backing of the Hopi people, but the majority refused to vote. With the American government behind them, the council and its members have prospered. They influence the reservation newspapers, have their own police force, and have signed a controversial but lucrative strip mining contract with the Peabody Coal Company. These are the Tribal Council headquarters. The chairman is Abat Danaqyumptewa, a cattle rancher and member of the Mormon Church.
The Tribal Council, as a union comprising the representatives from this union of 12 villages, by law is a spokesman and can speak in behalf of the whole tribe, whereas in a traditional governmental organization, each of village is autonomous and independent from all of the other villages, so that the chieftains and other officers within that village could speak for the village only, but they could never speak for another village. And so the chieftains from the various villages were co-equals, and they had to make decisions by unanimous agreement.
So I don't see the Tribal Council as any kind of a permanent institution within the Hopi culture. It's obviously, in this day and age, a tool which the government is using to advance its own types of programs along the Hopi Reservation. It kind of makes things like Peabody legitimate because the Tribal Council approved the lease, and in the eyes of the world then this becomes legitimate. But in fact, this thing was never approved by the Hopi people. So it's a as one of the Hopi leaders used to say, it's kind of like a puppet government.
The council members are, you know, they're Hopis, but they're always against in our belief, you know. They don't like it very much, I guess. So they like to have it in a new way, life in like white people live, you know.
Today, contemporary Hopi society is confronted with problems that did not exist in the old traditional society, and so that these compromises have to be made in order to preserve the Hopi culture as we still know it, and at the same time provide the opportunities to the younger people to determine for themselves what their destiny is going to be in this new society where they have to deal and live with the dominant white man society. I mean, this is their time.
It may indeed be their time, but these children will not make the decisions that affect their immediate lives, decisions that will, to a large extent, determine whether they later live as Anglos or continue to live off the land as Hopis. The Hopi way of life is based on creating a harmonious relationship with nature. And corn, the most important Hopi crop, is a measure of that relationship. When the first sweet corn is harvested, a corn bake is held in celebration. The corn plant, encompassing within itself both the male and female principles, is for the Hopi a symbol of the mystery of life. Inside a dugout oven lined with stone, this fire will burn and smolder for several hours. Corn, in some form or another, is used in every Hopi religious act. Even the simplest prayer is accompanied by the sprinkling of sacred cornmeal. In a brief ceremony, thanks and recognition are given to the forces of nature, which aid the Hopi in the growth of their corn. Corn has meant survival for the Hopis, and the elders tell us that when the people emerged from the underworld, each group was given a name and a language, and was asked to choose an ear of corn as their food. The Hopis waited until last and took what was left, a small humble ear of corn. But this was a test of their wisdom, for that corn, like the Hopis themselves, was hardy and productive. The Hopis grow their corn on land which receives less than 11 inches of rain per year. And to perform this agricultural miracle, they seek the help of the spiritual forces around them. Each year, at the time of the winter solstice, they return. These are the Kachinas, or spirit friends, who leave their ceremonial homes in the San Francisco mountains to once again dwell among the Hopi people until midsummer. In full physical form, the Kachinas are represented by initiated men. Before donning the Kachina mask, these men must enter into a kiva, the Hopi underground ceremonial chamber, and there purify their hearts and minds through meditation and their bodies through fasting. Here in the kiva, a memory of the underworld, the most sacred Hopi rituals are performed and the ceremonial altars constructed. Around the turn of the century, tourists and anthropologists began to produce a detailed photographic record of Hopi ceremonies. None was more notoriously misunderstood than the snake dance, a late summer ceremony to bring rain for the final maturing of the crops. To many Anglos who traveled for days through the desert to see it, this ceremony was shocking and heathenistic. But to the Hopis, the snakes are honored guests who, when released, will communicate the peaceful intentions of the people to the rest of nature. Because of the publication of photographs such as these, the Hopis became the object of a campaign by Christian bigots to suppress their religious freedom. In 1915, to prevent sensationalism and to protect the dignity of their ceremonies, the Hopis banned all further photography of religious activity. That ban is still strictly enforced.